Another lesson. So in this lesson, I'm going to take you through on how you can create a database using Microsoft Access. Okay, so let's begin with defining a database. So basically, a database is an organized collection of structured data. Okay, so a database is not a new thing. We have been using databases for a long period of time, except that we are using paper-based databases or physical databases in which we are keeping our records physically, like in cabinets where we used to to put our documents there. Okay, now with such kind of databases, it was actually difficult to locate a document that you want. Okay, let's say in hospitals where they have so many patients or other clients, to find a document, it's time consuming. Now, with the coming of electronic databases like Microsoft Access, it becomes very easy to locate or to retrieve information that you want from the what? From the database, because it offers means in which you can do that faster. Okay, so now in databases, our data is stored in tables. Okay, now as you know, a table is made up of rows and columns. So the first thing that we are supposed to do is to create a table. So in this lesson, we are going to see how we can create a table. Okay, now the first thing is to know how to identify Microsoft Access on the computer. So Microsoft Access has this icon. So the icon for Microsoft Access looks like that one. So you can just simply go on the what? On the start button, you search for Microsoft Access. You just type Microsoft Access if it is installed on your computer. And then you are going to see this icon. Then just click on it. Then the application is going to launch and it's going to open. And it is going to display this screen which you are actually seeing here. Now, when it brings this, you are supposed to select blank database. So we are going to click on blank database. Okay, so now when you click on blank database, it brings this and it is actually requesting you to name your database. Now, naming the database, you can give it maybe the name of the institution or the type of data that you'll be keeping in that database. Now, because for me, I want to make a school database here. So I'm going to give this database the name of our school, which is NAB Academy. Okay, NAB Academy. Okay, so this is the name of our database. Okay, so in this database, we are going to be keeping information about the school, meaning information about the students, about lecturers, about books, and so forth. So once you have given it the name, well, the next thing to do is to create on it, is to click on create. Okay, so now, like I said, in this database, data is stored in tables. So we are going to create a table. And a table is made up of rows and columns. Okay, so let's see how we can create a table. So creating a table, you go to that button there, view. You click on the drop down and then it's going to bring those two options there. Then you click on design view. So once you click on design view, remember, like I said, we are creating a table. So we are supposed to name this table. We are supposed to give this table a name. Okay. Now we can name this table according to the information that we want to keep in this table. So in this case, I want us to keep information about the students in this table. So we are going to call it student information. Okay, student info. Okay, student information. So you just type it like that, then you say okay. So now it brings us to this part. Okay, so this is what we call the design view. So now as you can see on top here, we have where it says field name, then data type, then description. So the fields are the columns. Okay, so in database, the columns we call them fields. Okay, we call them field, and then the rows we call them records. Okay, so now here we are defining the fields, which means the rows, the columns of our table. Now, What it is that each table should have what we call a primary key. A primary key is basically a field that identifies every record in the table. It's more like in a school, okay? A student has a student ID or student number. That number is the one which is used to identify that particular student. So in the same way here, each table should have a field which is going to help us to identify all the records. So now, we are going to say the primary key for this table will be student number. We can say student number or student ID. Okay. Now every column should have a data type. Okay, you should specify the data type, like the type of data which is going to be kept in that column. So there are different types of data types that you can select, as you can see from all these. Okay, so we have auto number, you have short text, you have all these numbers. So now for this student ID, okay, for this student ID we can use short text, because that if we say that we assign short text as data type for that column, even if we enter numbers and text, it can still be accepted. Okay, so we are going to say short text, but if we say numbers, it means that in that column we'll be just entering in numbers. Okay, if you say numbers, it means that in that column we'll be just entering numbers. But if we say text, it means that we can mix characters, okay, letters and the numbers. So I prefer using this one, short text. Okay, so now the next thing that I want us, apart from the student ID, this table should have the student, the names. And so we can say first name. Okay, in this column, what is the data type for this column? Should be text. Okay, last name. Okay, last name. Okay, again here the data type should be text. Okay, and what else we can say? Maybe gender. Okay, this should be text. What else? We can say maybe age of a student. Now, age is a number, so here we are going to say number. Okay, if you want, you can still use text, because like I said, text can accept both numbers or letters. Okay, then what else? We can say course, the course of Elena, or a student, the course that the student is doing. So now you have that. Okay, so you continue putting in all those columns and specifying their data types. This is very important, because you are simply telling this computer to say, in this column the type of data that I'll be entering is text. So now what happens is that what happens is that if you say text, or then you enter something else, then the computer is going to reject that type of data. Okay, so now once you have entered the field names and you have specified the data types, you can go forward and describe those columns. Okay, but this is option, but it's important to describe those columns. Okay, because it helps us to know the type of information that will be in that column. So let's say in student ID column, what type of information is there? So this information helps us to identify. Okay, we say identifies each student. Okay, identifies each student. So if you put that description there, we know that, okay, the type of this information here is going to describe each student in that column. Okay, so that is what you do. So once you are done with field names and data types, you can now save this table. So you can just say, okay, just go on file, then you just say save. So once you save your table, you can now open that table so that you begin entering that data. Now, how do you do that? You just click on the table, then just double click, and then it opens like that. Okay, so as you can see now, this is our table. These are our field names. These are our field names. So fields are columns and rows are what? Records. Okay. So you can proceed and enter the information that you for the students in the table there. So we can say student ID. We can say student ID 001. This is the student ID. Okay, first name we can say Tyson. Okay, last name we can say Chaumba. Okay, then gender we can say male, and age we can say 31. Then course we can say computer science. Okay, computer science. Then we can enter another records. We can enter another record. We say student number 002. Okay, this is going to be Miss. Okay, Messi Banda. Okay, the name Miss Banda. Okay, gender female. Then you have age 20. Okay, this one we can scroll it accounts. Okay, just like that. Okay, so you can enter another student. Okay, say 002. Okay, this one is going to be Peter. Okay, Peter Piri. Peter Piri. Peter Piri. Okay, this one gender male. So this is how you enter. This is how you enter. This is how you enter data into the table. Okay, so the first thing when you are working with the first thing when you are working with the database is to create a table, because data is organized in tables in databases like this one. So the first thing is to go to the design view, you enter the field names there, and also you enter the data types. So that is what you do. Okay, that's what you do. That is what you do. So I think you have seen what is happening here. It is showing us something else here. There is a problem. The problem is that we have made a duplicate there. Like well, this is supposed to be 3. I mean, this is supposed to be 3. We can't have 2 people with the same ID number. That is impossible. So no wonder it was giving us that error. Okay, so this is what I wanted us to do today. I wanted to show you how you can create a table in Microsoft Access. So now, next time we are going to see how we can retrieve information, different information from our tables based on what we want. Okay, so otherwise this is how you create a table in Microsoft Access. Thank you very much for watching, and those who haven't who have just watched our videos for the first time, please do not forget to subscribe, because this is the right place for you to develop. This is the right place for you to learn different computer courses. Thank you very much. Let's be together even next time.